Happy holidays, everybody, and Tony here with my follow-up video to my look back on the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Christmas episode, I'm Dreaming of a White Ranger. Ever since I've been rewatching Mighty Morphin Power Rangers from seasons 1 to 3 this year, I have come to further appreciate everything that the Power Rangers franchise had to offer, from its lovable and interesting characters to its intimidating villains and equally intimidating monsters to, most of all, its awesome fight choreography. Yes, most of the fight choreography and the fight scenes were derived from the original Super Sentai series that they were based from until they were able to integrate their own footage for the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers franchise, all the way up to Zeo and the other subsequent Power Rangers seasons. But the fun and the excitement I always had to see the Rangers morph up and suit up in their various outfits to do battle with these monsters and villains will always get my blood pumping in the most exciting way possible. Going into I'm Dreaming of a White Ranger, when I first made my look back on this Christmas special a year ago, I was not really satisfied with what I had to say about it. And I figured that there were some more thoughts and feelings that I would have loved to express, let alone articulate, of why I feel like this episode had potential to improve. With that said, I'm going to list down the top 7 ways that I would improve I'm Dreaming of a White Ranger. And before any of you in the comments type down saying that I'm being too harsh on this, or that it's just for kids, or that I'm demanding too much from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, please understand that the whole argument of it's just for kids is not going to cut the mustard with me. Because after all, kids are smarter than this. Kids can be able to analyze things, whether they be simple or surprisingly complex. Most of all, using that whole it's just for kids argument with me demeans your audience and alienates them, thus making them feel like they cannot be any smarter than what they really are. And I've seen my fair share of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Power Rangers Zeo, and many subsequent seasons to know that the Power Rangers franchise, for better or for worse, has a wide appeal, whether they be for young kids or for older kids or teenagers or adults. So let's get cracking with number 1 by making Becky the kid victim of the week. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is certainly no stranger to having kid victims of the week. Just ask its series that it was based on, Kyoryu Sentai Zyurenja, where it had kid victims of the week getting rescued by the main Rangers. Yes, I do understand Becky's purpose in the story. She is a lonely girl who feels very blue throughout the holidays because her father has been working so hard. And she's scared that he will not come to see her sing, let alone perform at the Christmas pageant at the youth center. Nevertheless, the main Rangers, from Tommy to Kimberly, comfort her and reassure her that her Christmas is going to be merry once she tells her father how she really feels and how much she wants to spend more time with him. That's fine and dandy, but let's take it up a notch and give it a little bit more edge by having Becky be a pawn to Rita Repulsa's and Lord Zed's machinations, with Rita Revolto contributing within the mix. Why not have her, as well as the many other children from Angel Grove, be pawns to Rita Repulsa's and Lord Zed's machinations of the week? That would have made for something a lot more exciting, whether it be a monster or a demon that's about to kidnap the children to enslave them and carry them over to Lord Zed and Rita Repulsa, that would have made for a lot more conflict and tension, not only for the Rangers, but most especially for Becky's father. And this would have also given Bulk and Skull a bit more of a challenge, rather than just having Bulk portray as Santa Claus and Skull as Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. By making Becky the kid victim of the week, this would have given her father more motivation to protect her at all costs and even spend more time with her, thus thinking about her a lot more, and the Rangers a great challenge to make sure that this child's, let alone all the children's lives, are not at risk from Rita Repulsa's and Lord Zed's machinations of the week. The second point I want to make involves the villain's plan of the week, because Lord Zed's plan of creating hypnotizing spinning tops that convince children to be naughty and serve under Lord Zed is completely bollocks and completely lame. And this is Lord Zed we're talking about, the demonic entity who pretty much out-villained Rita Repulsa in season 2 before Rita Repulsa came back and he was not the same as he was during his debut episode in season 2. I would have to blame the soccer moms and the conservative parents for this, because they complained that Lord Zed was too scary for children. He was supposed to be scary. His whole intention in season 2 up to season 3 was to be the anti-Rita Repulsa, in which he is colder and more cruel and therefore more ruthless than Rita will ever be, and doesn't have all these harebrained schemes. Having him spout out that he's going to create spinning tops that hypnotize children into becoming more naughty is just a completely harebrained scheme altogether. And look how that turned out in the end. Instead of spinning tops that hypnotize children into becoming naughtier, why not have Lord Zed create a Christmas-themed monster to terrorize innocent civilians? For instance, we could have had a monster directly inspired from the Krampus. And for those of you who do not know what a Krampus is, it is basically a Christmas demon / monster who kidnaps naughty children and takes them to the underworld for them to work as its slaves, or even beats them up with its whip. It does this by stealing innocent children and putting them on his sack and bringing them to the underworld, where they will have to be his slaves for probably all eternity. The Krampus, let alone a Krampus-inspired monster, would have been a great monster for Lord Zed to create, and therefore challenge the Rangers to not only fight it, but also protect the many innocent civilians. And what are we gonna do with this Christmas-themed monster, specifically the Krampus? The first option would have been to let the Krampus terrorize the North Pole, as in ransack Santa's workshop, cause havoc among the elves, and even have Santa be completely overpowered by this Christmas-themed monster. And this would have led Santa to contact Alpha 5 and Zordon by stating that the North Pole is under attack. That would have led the Power Rangers to suit up, morph up, and do battle with the monster. And once the Krampus would have been initially beaten down, that would have persuaded Lord Zed and Rita Repulsa to make the monster grow and have Tommy, Rocky, Adam, Billy, Aisha, and Kimberly work together and combine their ninja zords to do battle with the much bigger monster and therefore save the North Pole. The other option would be doing away with the whole North Pole subplot and have the Krampus attack Angel Grove. After all, what better place would a Christmas-themed monster attack innocent children and many innocent civilians other than Angel Grove, especially where children are concerned? And this ties back nicely to my first argument of making Becky the kid victim of the week, because what better monster for Becky to be scared of than the Krampus, And what better motivation for the Power Rangers to protect her and make Becky feel very excited to see them doing battle against this monster and have her very excited to see the Power Rangers in the flesh and really hope and pray that she will be protected by them. Having Becky and the children from the youth center as victims to the Krampus would have made for a more exciting story, and this would have been the impetus for the Power Rangers to protect all the children, especially Becky, in order for them to have a very Merry Christmas and to be protected from this threat. And they would have also used their martial arts skills and their combat skills to beat this monster into submission and even have Becky cheer for them. That alone would have been exciting. This leads into my next argument, which is getting rid of Zordon's baloney explanation as to why Tommy, Rocky, Adam, Billy, Aisha, and Kimberly could not morph into the Power Rangers in the North Pole because of its, get this, unique polarity and a cross current of holiday magic. When I heard Zordon spout out that Tommy, Rocky, Adam, Billy, Aisha, and Kimberly could not morph into the Power Rangers in the North Pole because of its unique polarity and its combination of a cross current of holiday magic, I just found myself guffawing in disbelief and told myself that is just a whole bunch of baloney that Zordon spouted out to them. Because when I think about it, I came to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers to watch these teenagers with attitude morph into their suits and do battle with monsters and just have a wonderful time watching all the revelry and all the fight choreography burst onto the screen. What did I get instead? Well, what we got was Tommy, Rocky, Adam, Billy, Aisha, and Kimberly pelting snowballs at Goldar and Rita Revolto. And I'll definitely talk about why I thought that climax was lame in my next argument. So getting rid of the whole baloney explanation as to why Tommy, Rocky, Adam, Billy, Aisha, and Kimberly could not morph in the North Pole would have made for a much better Christmas episode, because that is just so much baloney peppered in. And I think it's just a way to state that Haim Saban and his crew were too cheap to make original morphed fight sequences in the North Pole, because having that line spouted out by Zordon just made me think of one thing. It's just complete nonsense, a whole bunch of baloney, and just a complete letdown. And what happened was a complete letdown of a climax. Speaking of a complete letdown of a climax, we would have loved to have the Rangers do battle in the North Pole, whether they be morphed into their suits or unmorphed using their martial arts skills, or basically have them morphed and use their martial arts skills without the need to contact any of their Zords. That would have been just as cool. Instead, what we get is Tommy, Rocky, Adam, Billy, Aisha, and Kimberly pelting snowballs at Goldar and Rita Revolto, and having the elves participate in a Home Alone style trap. That's it. It went too quickly, and I thought it was just completely devoid of any tension, let alone any excitement. It was just mildly entertaining at best, but super lame at worst. Besides, Tommy, Rocky, Adam, Billy, Aisha, and Kimberly could have gone the Dairenja route and had an unmorphed fight sequence there where they all had to use their martial arts skills, and it would have been cool to see some punches, kicks, grapples, and takedowns. That would have been fun. Heck, the elves would have been just as formidable themselves by having them use their martial arts skills and use takedowns, punches, grapples, and kicks and strikes to overcome Rito Revolto and Goldar, instead of the lame snowball fight that we ended up receiving. With all of these arguments I presented, this leads into what I want to drive home with. I would have loved for I'm Dreaming of a White Ranger to have a lot more tension and a lot more excitement as well as action, because I always came to Power Rangers to watch some really cool action scenes, not see the Rangers pelting snowballs at the villains. And this argument that I presented of having more tension and action would have also made those missed opportunities come to full fruition, such as making Becky the kid victim of the week, all the way up to creating a Christmas-themed monster that challenged the Rangers and gave Becky's father more of a motivation to spend more time with his daughter and therefore protect her from any harm that comes her way. I know that last argument sounded rather general, but that's the point I want to drive home with. I would have loved for I'm Dreaming of a White Ranger to have had a lot more tension and action, because with those ideas, suggestions, and arguments I presented, all of this would have made I'm Dreaming of a White Ranger a much better episode. As I said before, I'm Dreaming of a White Ranger was not a terrible Power Rangers episode, nor was it the best I have ever seen. It was just okay at best as it was, and there was just a lot of missed opportunities for this Christmas episode to be a whole lot better, not just as a Christmas special, but as a Power Rangers episode as a whole. I know some people might think that I'm being too hard on I'm Dreaming of a White Ranger because it was supposed to be a breather episode. I totally understand. But just because something is a breather episode doesn't mean that it had to be devoid of any tension and or action that would have been present. I still had fun with I'm Dreaming of a White Ranger, but it could have been a much better and stronger episode, not just in terms of Power Rangers, but also in terms of Christmas episodes. And I'd also love to hear your thoughts on how you would improve I'm Dreaming of a White Ranger, whether you liked the episode or not. If you feel like there could have been a lot more suggestions and plans to improve this episode, please type so in the comments below. Or if you feel like this episode was okay, then I'd also like to hear your thoughts on the comments below. Well, thank you so much for watching and listening to my thoughts on how I would improve I'm Dreaming of a White Ranger. Revisiting this episode was not an easy job to do, but it was still quite fun revisiting it and realizing that there have been a lot of suggestions and ways that I would have loved to improve it. And I would also, like I said, love to hear what you people have to think in the comments below and how you would also improve I'm Dreaming of a White Ranger, whether you liked it or not. And until then, please tune in later for my slight slam against a certain Power Rangers Zeo Christmas episode that might have seen a lot of contention from a certain group of shippers, but it's seen contention with me for a different reason. And I'll be talking about A Season to Remember. So until then, happy holidays, everybody.